In the first quarter of 2022, fans of the highly acclaimed Netflix original comedy drama series called The Babysitter's Club were devastated when they learned that it was canceled. As often the case with other TV networks, the streaming service never gave an explanation as to why they chose not to renew it, given that it received positive feedback not only from the fans, but also from the critics. Several theories came out as the reason behind its cancellation, including poor ratings, artistic differences, and lack of product marketing. The drama series only aired for 2 seasons. Netflix's The Babysitter's Club was an American drama series about a group of middle schoolers who started a babysitting business in the fictional town of Stony Brook, Connecticut. The TV show was inspired by the best-selling book series of the same title, written by Anne M. Martin and published from 1986 up to 2000. By 2016, close to 180 million copies had been sold. While Anne was mostly known as the main author of the series, she only wrote the first 35 books on her own, and many ghostwriters collaborated with her on the rest of the books. The idea by Scholastic Corporation to publish books focused on babysitting came about after Katie's Babysitting Job became popular. It was supposed to be just a 4-book series, but it became so successful that Scholastic continued ordering more from the author. They stopped in 2000, by which time they already had over 200 books published. For many years, kids from elementary to teenagers were thrilled by the Babysitter's Club books and the TV drama version that the showrunner Rachel Schuker created through Netflix. They filmed it in Vancouver by the Chronicles of Narnia producer Walden Media, along with Michael DeLuca, who worked on Escape at Dannemora. It wasn't the first time someone thought of producing a live-action series, since cable TV giant HBO also had its version in 1990. The Netflix series version made its television debut on the 3rd of July 2020, with 10 episodes renewed for a second season, with another 10 episodes aired from the 11th of October 2021. When online articles came out about the Netflix TV adaptation series, 2 TV veterans were reported to be part of it: Alicia Silverstone and Mark Furstein. Alicia played the role of Elizabeth Thomas Brewer, a divorced mother of the president of the Babysitter's Club, with fans saying it was a great idea to cast Alicia because she was one of the teen queens back in the 1990s via the hit movie Clueless. Mark portrayed the character of Watson Brewer, the affluent fiancé of Elizabeth in the first season, who later on became her husband. He'd been part of several popular hit TV series including The West Wing, Royal Pains, and Prison Break. Most of the young teens who were hired to play the original members of the Babysitter's Club were new actors, or had little acting experience, including Sophie Grace as the Club Prexy Christy Thomas, Shea Rudolph as the former New Yorker Stacey McGill, Momona Tamada as the artsy Claudia, and Malia Baker as the shy Marianne Spire. They were joined by Xochitl Gomez in the first season and Kendra Sanchez in the second. Both played the role of Dawn Schaefer. One of the reasons why fans of the Babysitter's Club book series were delighted and relieved with the Netflix adaptation was because most of the storylines were pretty much the same. Almost all the episodes of the TV adaptation were told from one of the club members' perspectives. The creator of the show felt that it would resonate well with loyal book readers, as it was how the stories in the books were presented. It was also great that the monologues of each of the main characters was written with care and much sensitivity was poured into it, which made each episode quite moving for the viewers. The original books already highlighted the subject of female empowerment, which was why it had been such a huge hit with young female readers, and Netflix's The Babysitter's Club left the viewers in awe, since it celebrated girl power to the next level. Imagine a show with girls often discussing the value of girls supporting girls, and bravely exploring all the options they could have in a world that was mostly dominated by men. Some viewers found it fascinating that the girls quoted former First Lady Michelle Obama, or that they compared the babysitter's clothes to the iconic Ruth Bader Ginsburg outfits with reverence. They also delved into many social issues, as the girls were quite informed on what was going on around them, while also having fun at the same time. The great thing about these girls was that while they were smart, they were aware that they didn't know everything, so were curious to learn more. When news about the reboot of The Babysitter's Club came out, fans were excited, but at the same time worried that if the TV drama version adapted to today's world, there was a chance that it would be less personal. Instead of the girls meeting in person at an appointed time in Claudia's room, due to the landline in her room, everything would be virtual, using social media platforms, and client appointments would be made through mobile phones. It presented a dilemma to the creator of the show, Because the club meeting was an integral part of the book, and the landline phone was the center of it all. The executive producers and creators knew that it wouldn't be the same if they messed that up. The issue was resolved because the teens were under 13 years old and couldn't create an Instagram account, which they initially thought they could use for marketing their services. They went analog, which meant printing and distributing flyers with a landline number that Claudia had as part of the internet service package her sister was using. Just as in the novels, Dawn and Marianne quickly became friends, and the rest of the family also became close. It started when Marianne had some issues with other babysitters, and that was the time Dawn Schaefer's family arrived in Stony Brook. The easy camaraderie was because Marianne's father and Dawn's mother dated back in high school. The Schaefers helped resolve the issues that Marianne had with her father. Fans of the books were pleased to see some of the popular charges that the babysitting club took care of in this new version, including 8-year-old Charlotte Teresa Johansson, the 3-year-old Jamie Newton, and the Pike family. The shy little Charlotte had a great relationship with Stacy. She skipped a grade level because academically, everything in school was quite easy for her, except getting along with other classmates, because they teased her as the teacher's pet. Jamie, one of the club's favorite clients, was at the stage when he wanted to try everything by himself, but couldn't since he was still in learning phases of tackling his buttons and shoelaces. The Pike children were described by some as not for the faint-hearted sitters. If they survived the babysitter's duty for these kids, it would be a piece of cake to handle any other kid. Some of the storylines were modified just to ensure that they would be relevant to today's society and family dynamics. Anyone could easily tell that the drama series was made for 21st century viewers, as several iconic pop culture objects and trends were mentioned, including The Handmaid's Tale, a spiritual practitioner, new moon in Scorpio ritual, and a 25-year-old Conair see-through landline curved phone bought from an Etsy shop. Awareness of health issues, such as juvenile diabetes, became one of the central points discussed in the first season. This happened after a new girl named Stacy arrived from New York. Both the book and the drama series showed that Stacy kept her diabetes from other girls because she was scared that they would judge her. Her struggles with the illness were used to ruin their reputation by a rival babysitting agency, comprised of older teenagers who stole their business idea. In the Netflix drama version, instead of just spreading rumors, their rivals uploaded a video showing Stacy having a seizure when her sugar levels dropped so low, so insinuating that Christie's group weren't reliable babysitters. In the book, the girls only became curious about the illness so they would know how to deal with Stacy better. However, in the drama series, the girls not only took time to understand the illness, but also took a mature approach to it by meeting with their clients to explain the situation, which reassured the parents of their charges. One of the first things that loyal fans of the books noticed upon watching the drama series was that the Babysitters Club was more inclusive. In the novel, the representation was limited to the Japanese-American Claudia, the African-American Jessie, and the rest of the characters were predominantly Caucasians. In the TV version, Dawn was a Latina and Marianne biracial. Only Stacy and Christy were white. They even had characters who were members of the LGBTQ, such as Dawn's father, who was revealed to be gay. Janine, Claudia's sister, was lesbian, and Dawn later admitted to being pansexual. The show was quite progressive compared to other series. Another deviation was the Marianne and Logan relationship timeline. For instance, they weren't supposed to be together when they all went camping, since he wasn't introduced as Marianne's crush until the 10th book. The TV show went into detail on why Dawn's parents filed for divorce, which wasn't tackled in the book because the author opted to just gloss over it. Apparently, her father turned out to be gay, which ultimately destroyed the marriage. Due to the differences between 1986 and 2020, our teen club president seemed to be more angsty because of her control issues. While Christy wasn't the typical mean girl who most people hated, she was a bit bossier in this version, specifically during the first season, although she became softer the following season. She always pushed an idea or a person to prove that she was always right, but not to the point that she would intentionally hurt anyone. She had issues with her father, on top of which her mother was about to remarry. Christy didn't like the idea of her mother depending on another man for happiness, feeling that she and her siblings should have been enough for her. From both the books and the TV adaptation of The Babysitter's Club, she was still the same Dawn Schaefer who was a health nut and wasn't afraid to take a stand. However, in the drama series, she was more involved in tackling social issues instead of just focusing on her love for animals and nature. She took time and more effort to be the voice of the people as she led a revolution among the campers in Camp Moosehead. Here are some interesting nuggets of facts surrounding the casting and the filming of The Babysitter's Club. The young actress who played the club's president, Sophie Grace, read the books while growing up. Her grandmother gifted her older sister the collection, which was shared with her, and they both became quite obsessed with them. At that time, she was only 6, while her older sister was 15, and it became a special bonding experience. While most people in the production were fans of the books, Alicia Silverstone, who played Christie's mom, didn't have any idea what the craze was all about. However, she appreciated the complexity of her character and said, "It was just so sweet and lovely and made me smile and feel good. I think what turned me on to the script was that it included a complicated relationship between Christie and Elizabeth." She said that she was lucky it wasn't a prerequisite to be a fan of the book to be hired for a role. The actor also understood babysitting pretty well, since she'd had relevant experience from when she was 10. It was intentional on the creator's part to hire actors who had no or little experience acting in Los Angeles' popular children's shows, such as Disney and Nickelodeon. They wanted young actors to be as natural and grounded as real kids as they could be. During auditions, they knew immediately if a kid would fit the role or not, such as Xochitl Gomez, who had crystals clinking inside her pockets, which was quite like her character Dawn, and Sophie Grace, who came in wearing gray jogging pants, which was very much like Christie. Getting a reliable babysitter for a child was a tedious process, and this was the main reason why the book series became a huge hit back in the 1980s. Not only because it promoted female empowerment and entrepreneurship. The reason still stands today, and why Netflix found it relevant to offer its TV adaptation. However, they chose not to renew it, and fans of the series, as well as the TV critics, were greatly disappointed. Some analysts said that the main culprit was TV ratings. While The Babysitter's Club developed a loyal following, it didn't draw a wider audience. Apparently, in the top 10 Nielsen weekly streaming ratings issued on the 11th of October 2021, the second season was nowhere to be found. There was only one time that the said season reached the 9th position on Netflix's top 10 rankings. It was a legitimate observation by some fans and media people that while it was natural for Netflix to cancel the show because it wasn't performing well business-wise, they felt that the streaming service didn't provide the right amount of marketing. Not many people were aware that they offered a TV adaptation of it. An online entertainment editor-in-chief, John Squires, posted on Twitter, "Babysitter's Club has been an iconic, beloved property for decades, and you'd hardly know that there was even a Netflix show." Based on the millions of copies sold over many years, it wasn't logical that something considered a treasure by many people couldn't have found a bigger audience for the drama version. Some couldn't fathom that the series ended just like that, especially since most TV critics found it delightful. It was frustrating for the fans of the books, who only realized that there was a new TV adaptation when news about its cancellation surfaced on social media. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpick these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.